Everett, he said, I never had a better brother than Millard was to me. And he's going to be talking about their experience during the flu during 1918. He said, since I've been sick this time, I sat here thinking about what happened. That was just as plain as anything. He was my best friend. Did you know that? That Millard and Everett were that close?
I didn't know that, but that gets possible.
Yeah, I thought that was neat, him saying that. Millard was a whole lot older than me. He'd stick with me through thick and thin. Every time I got sick, Millard was there. That's a mite good way to testify. That flu come around, we lived on Tick Ridge up from Olive Hill. I was working at the brickyard. Well, Charley was next, older than me. We growed up together. Never would have thought that me being social would have come in handy. We had 3 children, me and my wife and 3 children. Arabelle lived across the near way. You could see across to their house. There was a road that went around up to the head of the holler over there. She never did take it, I don't reckon, that flu. Everybody else did about. Charley never did get it. He never stayed in one place long enough, and he wouldn't go anywhere else. Do you agree your dad didn't get that flu?
Yep. If there's any around, he stayed away from the flu.
We were a week past. Well, I don't know just how long, several days. Arabelle would come every day and bring something for us to eat. We couldn't eat a thing. I guess she had half a bushel of biscuits made in the kitchen. She would come in the kitchen every day and evening. She was coming in the kitchen and she never did catch it. Millard's wife had died. He had 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys. And then one girl was the meanest. Which one's that?
Might have been
That'd be Glenn.
Glenn, I guess.
And May would have been the other one, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
He said, well, he caught on to her up there going. And then I think he said, I'll break your bones in half. So finally he come, Millard. I'll stick to him right there. Charley was just barely older than me, and he come and he sat on his horse.
Sounds like him. Yep.
From the window, wasn't hardly from here about to that bank, 20 feet I'd say. So does that mean Charley's staying 20 feet away from the house?
He didn't want to catch the flu.
Charley was pretty smart. He says, I think it was the next day, Wint, my oldest brother, staying at that house, came through there after more light, and then he took it. One of them had a pretty high fever, and the other one done just exactly the same. And then probably the next day, Millard come a-walking. He didn't have no wife to leave his kids with. I asked later, well now Ross, that was his oldest boy, he said, I don't know where the girls stayed, but I know where me and Pa stayed. And he was talking, we come back just a short time ago when he took it. He lived right down beside a Moorhead on 60. Does that sound right, or now is he talking about somebody else?
That would have been Ross.
That's where Ross lived?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ross lived down on 60. Okay. He never stopped at the door. He turned the nail and come in. Then he says him and Martha miscarried at that time that was going on. And then he's talking about he went over there in town somewhere and the doctors all had it but one. And I didn't want him. Then he says he found an old woman over there and he took care of her. And the little girl, about 3.5 years old, she died with the flu. And he brought her to Old Fairview across Tick Ridge up from Olive Hill and buried him. Him and Nelse Jarvis lived there where Robert Deeks lives now, owns that place.
Robert D. Porter on Tick Ridge?
Maybe that's what he said. Could have been where Robert D. lives now.
Yeah.
Okay. He says Nelse Jarvis, he brought the baby up there and buried it out this side of us. And he stayed with us a few times, and when he took it, I took it. The flu, I think. Doc Armstrong, that was the main doctor, he was up, he had it when I did, so I went. Now Doc said, us doctors don't know nothing about this flu. That come from Europe, they tell us, and he said we don't know nothing about it. He come, he gave medicine, He said just having a baby miscarried that young, Millard, about 3 years and a half old. Millard bring him to Old Fairview and bury him. I don't reckon he had a stone. I never did see it. He took it, and I went and got a Doc Armstrong. He got along good. Doc seen he was getting better. So, you know, he mentioned girl, but then it sounded like he was talking about a boy. So a 3.5-year-old boy that Millard, did Millard lose a boy then?
I never did hear of it.
It was hard to talk to Everett. You couldn't ask him very much because he couldn't hear.
And he wanted to talk all the time.
Yeah, which was good
Yeah.
because, man, he had a lot of stories.